All right, another Bitcoin video update. We're going to be jumping down into the technical analysis on BTC, taking a look at what's been going on most recently and what I think is likely to happen next. As I get into the video, if you find it useful and informative, smash the like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe? And if you haven't joined us in Discord, what you're waiting for, check it out. Link is in the description below. Right, we'll try to keep this one nice and brief and on point. This here is Bitcoin paired up with USDT on the BitGet spot exchange and the 1 hour time frame. We're using the 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗀𝗧𝗏 smart money concepts indicator to help us indicate big money movements in this space, smart money essentially, right? But for the most part, Bitcoin has just been ranging sideways. It's all been that there isn't terribly too much to talk about because all we've really been doing here is kind of going in a sideways trading motion. In fact, we can kind of take a look at it between 29,546 and the higher range at the top there at 31,410, right? We can just see that we've been moving around in just sideways trading. Now, we've had moves up, we've had moves down. Let's go ahead and reflect on those. So we did see a move to the downside over here on Wednesday the 28th, about 8 p.m. We kind of hit this low at 29,847. This was allowing us to kind of look at this slightly more bearishly, 1, 2, and then 3, i.e. we're going to come down to that fair value gap at around that 29,400 to 29,486. However, at the same time as seeing that, our minimum expectations on that C wave were already met, meaning that we could of course move to the upside, and we can acknowledge that this was just a 3-wave pattern that kind of truncated and just fell a little bit short of our more typical 1 to 1.236 Fibonacci level retracements. So again, it's not an issue. We can kind of see that and mark that one off as complete. The alternative option here is that we're actually running an irregular flat correction in this move, as in an A, a B that comes up higher than origin of A, and then we come down into C, right? Still a technical possibility within the charts. For that to occur, we must end on a 5-wave impulsive pattern to the downside here. That would make it a irregular 335, and we'd be done at that point. Okay, so that's a possibility, although I'm thinking probably not going to happen. We'll see how it kind of plays out. Ultimately, as I said, we are in that range of market, which means we're basically just going between 2 key levels, and we do find ourselves at an interesting point. Bitcoin can, and probably will, in my opinion, break to the upside at this point. I don't think the irregular flat is something that is going to be playing out myself. I do think we'll probably be looking at that move to the upside. And if we jump over into the daily chart here, you can see that we were having the lower highs and the lower lows, and they do have a tendency to wanting to break to the upside, right? We saw this break out from here, and we can also see and acknowledge, if I zoom in here a little bit more, you can see that we have the lower lows and the lower highs, and we are looking for that break outwards. So again, we look at it as a bear flag, potentially something to that effect, but ultimately we are looking at this as lower highs, lower lows, break to the upside, okay? And that's kind of where that one sits. Now take a look at it on the hourly. Okay, you can see that our expectations were this move to the downside. That's no longer valid, so we were targeting out that 29,175 to 29,514. However, our C wave has completed here, meaning that our target range is no longer valid. And as you can kind of see, we were testing this trend line, we broke from the upside. And this is something that, it just shows that Elliott wave theory had to kind of complete here because of the testing on this trend line and the fact that it was now a support line. Okay, so what was resistance turns to support. What was selling pressure has turned into buying pressure, and then you saw this break to the upside here. Okay, so all in all, it's looking pretty interesting, but there is a fair value gap that is created most recently. If we jump over into BitGet, we go to the trading pairs, spot trading Bitcoin USDT pair. This is going to bring up the trading view chart that we were just looking at, but it's going to bring it up within BitGet, so we have the ability to also take a look at the order books as well as placing orders directly here, right? So it is the same chart. This here is on the 1 hour time frame. It is the BitGet BTC USDT pair, and we're on trading view still. And if I zoom in right on these recent movements to the upside, you can kind of see the fair value gap right in here. Okay, and this gap, let me just go ahead and draw it in, comes in right here, put it across. Okay, this particular gap, let me just pull that down to a 0 there. This gap here is created from an imbalance in the order books. Basically, a large buy order came in on the low side, that being 30,441. Okay, and there wasn't enough selling pressure within that range. The price has to go and find the sellers. The sellers are found at 30,625, and so as such, this gap in price is left behind. The price wants to go back down and wants to fit it out. It isn't something that has to happen, but it's something that more than likely will occur after a push to the upside. Now, if you take it to a daily time frame, if it will load, we'll see. Yeah, there we go. We can see that we have got a few fair value gaps. I haven't marked them all out on this particular chart, but you can see that there are some immediately in here where we will be looking for retracement at some point in the future. Okay, and it doesn't have to happen right away. We can acknowledge this also as maybe a 5-wave impulsive movement, which means we'll be looking for a zigzag in the total level, I would have thought. Okay, so all in all, it's looking pretty progressive. We're still seeing a bit of a move upwards towards that kind of 35,000 CME gap, and we're progressing quite nicely towards it. Now, if you are looking for a new exchange and you haven't yet checked out BitGet, why not check it out? The affiliate link is in the description down below. It is my go-to platform for doing all of my leverage-based trading, and about 90 to 95% of my spot trading is done here now as well. So if you're tired or a little bit concerned over some of the other exchanges, whether that is MEXC, Coinbase, Binance, Bittrex, whatever it may be, and maybe you're just looking to kind of get onto a new platform, why not check out BitGet? They've got some fantastic sign-up offers as well, up to $8,000 in rewards depending on how much you deposit to the platform and how much you trade and all that kind of good stuff. More details can be found in the link in the description below, so why not check that out? And again, it's always a good idea, at least in my humble opinion, to have access to as many exchanges as possible, just in case something happens to one of them, you have another one to fall back onto. I always like to have multiple accounts set up in multiple different places just in case, and you can use them when you need to. So if you haven't already checked out BitGet, the affiliate link is in the description below. Why not go ahead and check it out? Let's jump back down to the charts. So we know that we've got a lot of fair value gaps, so you can kind of see here on BTC on the hourly chart, right? And it's the same for the daily time frame as well. Now, if I jump on over here, right, this is our daily time frame. Just you looking at this as a big kind of bull trap, right? We have the higher highs and the higher lows. This will eventually break to the downside, but I suspect that we're going to be going for that CME gap first. If we bring up our CME gap, you can see it right up here, right? This one comes in at 34,455 to 35,180, and then there's another fair CME gap down here at 20,330 to 21,110, and we'll get both of these in my opinion. Now, are there any others? No, and there are no other gaps, CME gaps, that have not already been filled. Okay, so it's important that we understand that. I mean, I guess there is one down here at 9,925 and 9,735, but for the bulls to kind of be thinking there's more than the 35, there isn't. There isn't really a need to push up any higher. You can see that this area of this CME gap will be resistance. We can see that right within our chart here. Let me grab another yellow box area, right? I'm going to draw in right here. Okay, this is going to be your resistance, and that's where the CME gap falls into. Okay, I know a lot of people are going to be speculating that maybe there's a push to the 48k up here, but there's going to be a lot of resistance to kind of get through to get there. It's not an impossibility, but I suspect that actually once the 35,000 CME gap is filled, we're going to find this as our rejection, and we're going to push back down. Again, it could just be a short-term correction and then a push up to 48, possibly, but I don't think that's going to be the case. We are, in my opinion, going to be looking at that 20,000 as the next CME gap to grab, meaning that it's going to get those bulls absolutely wrecked in the same way that a lot of the people who are shorting the market are getting wrecked right now. We're going to see the same, but on the way down, right? Because unfortunately, a lot of the retail investors will suspect that once you hit 35k, you're just going to the moon. You're just going to keep going up. We're going to all-time highs. But actually, what might potentially is going to be on the horizon here is this CME gap down at $20,000. Nice, healthy correction for Bitcoin. And again, like I've said many times before, I'm not looking necessarily for a new lower low on BTC. I personally suspect we probably will see one, but there's no guarantee from a technical standpoint. If we just follow the data here, we can say that actually, a move down to 20, maybe even 17,000 is all that is required before Bitcoin has its next kind of bullish movement to the upside. So, it's one of those. We look for natural, healthy corrections where we see them. Now, of course, the $9,000 CME gap, well, that would be very juicy for a 3-wave corrective pattern. right in like this. Okay, now that would be a very unpopular opinion, but you know, it is what it is, and there's a gap there. Can't make it up. So you know, we'll take that with a pinch of salt and we'll see how that one plays out. But for the most part, that there could be exactly what this market is looking for, and as to why the smart money is still on the sidelines. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Do you still think less than 10k? Interesting to kind of get your thoughts and opinions. I'm going to leave the video right there though, guys. If you have found it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, guys, check it out. Link is in the description below. There's an amazing, fantastic announcement happening down in the Discord tomorrow, and you're going to want to be down there in the general chat. Chris, myself will be in the live chat pretty much through the majority of the day. Some really big things happening tomorrow, so why not check it out in the Discord, link in the description below. Until the next one though, guys, have a fantastic day.
We are not financial advisors. None of what we have communicated verbally or in writing here should be considered as financial advice. It is not. Do your own research before investing in any digital asset or affiliate offers, and understand that investing in any crypto is risky. If you do, you need to be prepared to risk your entire investment. This video is for information and entertainment purposes only. All our videos are strictly personal opinions. Please make sure you do your own research and never take our opinions for financial guidance. There are multiple strategies, and not all strategies fit all people. Our videos are